An Aging Committee meeting is now called to order. Chrissy, would you please call the roll?
Calling the roll, Mr. Jones.
Here.
Ms. Conwell. Here. Ms. Brown. Ms. Brown is absent at the moment. Mr. Schramm.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Chrissy, has anyone signed in for public comment related to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chair, no one has signed in for public comment that's related to the agenda.
All right. Can we have a motion for an approval of minutes from our September 21st meeting?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Our minutes are approved. All right, well, we have one item on our agenda today. And Chrissy, please read that resolution into the record.
Resolution 2016-0186, authorizing amendment to contract number CE 1200260 with Mental Health Services for Homeless Persons Incorporated, doing business as Frontline Service for Transitional Housing Program Services for the period 6/1/2012 through 9/30/2016, to extend the time period to 9/30/2017, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,222,993.
And is there someone to speak to this item?
Mr. Chairman, committee members, I'm Shari Weir from the Office of Homeless Services. Eric Morris from Frontline Services also here, should you have questions or want any clarifications from him. Just a quick background on this item. In 2008, the City of Cleveland and the county collaborated to establish North Point for, at that time, single men. The city purchased the building, and the county pledged operating support. Since that time, 2 RFPs have been issued by the county. Both times, Frontline was selected as the provider. The building can serve 160 people at a point in time, and is pretty much always at full capacity. We will do another RFP by the end of this year or early next year, so because the contract, if this is approved, would extend funding through September of next year. So we'll get the RFP issued so that there's adequate time for response and review. We sent over a sheet with a number of outcomes, which I hope was distributed, and that will give you a sense of how the program is performing. And also worth noting is that as of August 1st, the program also started to serve single women who are either employed or who are seeking employment. Other questions?
Any questions from the committee? No questions. Sherry, you have done an excellent job.
That'll put everybody to sleep, right? I mean,
No, we do have some questions, Sherry, if you would hold one moment.
okay, sure.
Councilman Miller.
I heard some talk that transitional housing was kind of being phased out in favor of rapid housing. What's the long-term status and expectations around this program?
The chairman to Councilman Miller. Transitional housing has fallen out of favor with HUD. And really the outcomes from transitional housing over the years in general, like sort of across the board, have not been particularly good in terms of the funds that are expended and the length of time that people have been in transitional housing, oftentimes up to 2 years. This project is not a traditional transitional housing program as constituted by HUD, and since it doesn't get HUD dollars, the program has had considerable flexibility. Really, when the program started, we talked about it as transitional housing. It's more like temporary housing, although it doesn't recognize such a category, but it's like temporary housing because the residents who are there, the goal is to link them quickly to employment opportunities and to assist them to move quickly to housing. Again, where transitional housing, there was more of a focus on you had to be ready for housing, whatever that means. And so people went through intensive programming and so forth. And this is focused way more on helping people get a sustainable income and find suitable housing. And you know, there's a place for housing like this in the community. It's I think very helpful to the residents who have the opportunity to be there while they are securing income and non-cash benefits and finding suitable housing.
And Mr. Chairman, Ms. Weir, what's the average length of stay for this particular program?
Chairman to Councilman Miller. The average length of stay is so we looked at 12 months, September 1st of last year through August 31st of this year, and the average length of stay was 5.5 months. I think 168 days was the exact number.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Any further questions from the committee? All right. Let the record reflect that Councilwoman Brown is in attendance. Again, if there are no further questions, I'll make a motion that we move this resolution to the full council. Is second reading suspension needed? And we will do this under second reading suspension. Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. 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 All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Is there any miscellaneous business from the committee? Chrissy, has anyone signed in for public comment?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ms. Liu?
Yes, Ms. Liu.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm glad to be here to deliver an invitation. There will be an event. It's not limited to any particular kind of organization. Everybody is welcome. This is a campaign to end homelessness for our community. And all of you, not only just the committee members, I mean, all the council members, you're all welcome to come. That will be October 19th at St. Ignatius High School. They have a Brain Art and Performance Center. It will be right there, start in 5:30 p.m. That's a Wednesday. And I hope you guys will come because you will have a very good opportunity to hear from community's perspective instead of just OHS based on HUS regulations or HUS definition or HUS strategies, how homelessness should be solved. But you will hear all other people's voices right here, right among us. So I think that's a good opportunity, and I myself will be there to hear what other people have to say too. The other thing is, North Point actually has a good setting at first. I myself in the shelter, I actually encourage the people who has stable jobs right now to consider that option. But unfortunately, about like 1 or 2 months ago, when there were a couple people, they were going to move there. When they got there, they were told there was some kind of incident happened. But nobody actually was honest about it to tell people about it. So they backed out. They came back to stay at the shelter. So there are lots of things happening, but sometimes we just have no way to know them right away. But knowing them is important because you want to prevent any other future incidents, which could be worse or even more harmful. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman?
Ms. Liu,
Sorry?
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Lou, did you say St. Ignatius?
Yes.
And
The high
this-
school, they have a building called the Brain Center. That's a performance art center.
So this is the St. Ignatius around West 30th Street approximately,
Right.
is that
I
correct?
think the address is like, the address itself is on West 30th Street. But it's a part of the high school's building.
Okay, I'm familiar with it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And repeat the day and time one more. For October 19th.
Wednesday, October 19th, that will be 5:30 p.m. to start. And since we don't want to make that as a meeting, boring meeting, we want that to be a productive situation for the community, for everybody to come to discuss. So think about it as more like a forum or even a party. That's a good way. Another way we trying to do, in addition to HUD's rules and regulation and their help to end homelessness in our community. So please come. Thank you.
Thank you. Chrissy, is anyone else signed in for public comment?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. William Tarter.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee
afternoon.
members. William Tarter from the Center for Community Solutions. I just wanted to put a few events in your hearing today that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. The first one is taking place this Friday, and you probably already received invitations to these events, but I just want to make sure that they're in your hearing. On Friday is the county conference on aging. It is from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock at the Holiday Inn in Independence. And so this is put on by DSAS, and it's going to be a really important conference. And they're talking about a number of important issues as it regards to health and human services. They're talking about assisted living facilities and ways to increase mental health awareness and outcomes as well. So I think it's going to be a really great event on Friday. Very important for the county to be a thought leader on topics like this. So I just want to put that in your hearing. Also on this coming Saturday is Convención Hispania, which is the largest Latino community event, and it's taking place at Max Hayes High School, 8:30 to 4 o'clock on Saturday, and they're going to have all sorts of job fairs and resources, music, food, and health screenings. So I think the Latino community is it's really great that they're doing this, and could be a primary opportunity to interface with some of the resources that they're doing that they have over there. Then next week there's two events, and I'm going to send these all to Joe Nani to share with you, but I also want to make sure that you hear it as well. Next Friday and Saturday is the Sunlight Foundation. They have something called Transparency Camp, which is typically held in Washington, D.C. Every year, and they talk about kind of best practices in government and transparency. For the first time in as long as I've been paying attention, they're holding it outside of D.C., and it's actually going to be in Cleveland. And that's next Friday and Saturday at the Cleveland Public Library. So it's a really big deal for it to be in Cleveland. You're going to have national kind of thought leaders around transparency, open government, and accessibility in Cleveland to kind of talk about what's what they're up to. So it could be an opportunity to kind of highlight some of the things that the county is doing, frankly, and in terms of transparency as well. And then lastly, next Friday, shameless plug, the City Club is going to be hosting an event. David Dodson is speaking, and the title of his presentation is Building an Infrastructure of Opportunity in Cleveland. So he's going to be talking about the impacts of poverty and some of the systemic contributors to poverty. And I think in Cleveland, the poverty rate is like 32% right now. And so he's going to be talking about what do we need from a policy and from a systemic standpoint to help kind of combat the issue of poverty. Center for Community Solutions is the sponsor of the event. And so again, I'll send it to you guys, but I do think it'll be highly beneficial for everyone involved. So the next 2 weeks, there'll be a lot of good things coming up from a policy standpoint, and wanted to put that in your hearing today.
Great.
Thank you.
I don't know if you have a list of those things, but if you can give them to Chrissy, then she can get them into our
Okay.
our inboxes.
Okay, I will do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Chrissy, has anyone else signed in for public comment?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right. Well, if nothing else holds our attention, our meeting is adjourned.